Hello, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be in the world. Welcome to Lumohubs Conversations at the Edge of Tomorrow. I'm Rachel Olamusi, and I'm very much looking forward to this interview. My guest today is Austin Osho, and it is a pleasure to welcome him to the program. Hi, Austin, how are you?
Hi Rachel. Good afternoon. I'm very pleased that you didn't butcher my name.
No, this is we did a little practice behind stage, guys, so it's really good to be here. Um I know that there's probably a huge audience that we can't see, so if you are participating, this is a fully interactive session. We'll be happy to take questions at the end. But before we do that, and if you are able to leave comments, please do so, telling us where you are watching us from, and what made you tune in. Before we get started and start diving straight into questions, because I have so many questions for Austin today, I'm going to go right ahead and read out a very short bio just to give you an idea about who our guest is, and get you as excited as I am, because I read so many amazing things and I have so many questions for Austin today. Austin Osho is the Hive, is a full stack strategist and the co-founder of the Hive, a creative growth ecosystem that helps businesses move from fragmentation to clarity to momentum and e-thrive. At the Hive, he leads branding and marketing strategy, shaping how businesses communicate, position themselves, and scale in a fast changing digital landscape. As a strategist, Austin focuses on building systems that free founders from the burden of doing everything alone. I think this will resonate with many people in the room. He develops foundational brand identities, growth playbooks, and long term strategic frameworks that enable businesses to build confidently, operate more efficiently, and tell their stories with intention and consistency. Before launching the Hive, Austin worked extensively across the Web3 and tech ecosystem, serving as social media manager at OpenCrypt and operations manager at the Roberna blockchain, where he contributed to ecosystem growth and product storytelling. His experience spans community building, digital strategy, content architecture, and brand communication for projects like Zogi Labs, Ubuntu, Blockfest, and other tech forward organizations. Through the Hive, Austin is now focused on helping founders build brands that are not only visually compelling, but strategically grounded. Brands that understand their users, communicate clearly, and grow with purpose. His work is driven by a commitment to clarity, structure, and meaningful impact across the businesses he partners with. Welcome, Austin. Thank you for joining us today. You're on mute. Just, yeah,
Thank you so much for having me.
of course. I want to start with um, what a day to day looks like for you at that, what a journey looks like at the Hive. Could you walk us through the core philosophy behind the Hive? What inspired you to create this creative growth ecosystem rather than just building a traditional agency and just saying, yeah, okay, here's what you need to do, go off and do it, and proceed in that way?
All right, thank you so much. Where we, because I am a co-founder together with my founders, my other founder, we grew up in the southern part of Nigeria. And there is a saying here that it takes a community to raise a child.
Mm,
And it's not just one person, it's an entire community. So we look at brands and businesses as the children of the founders. It's your soul child, your brainchild, however you want to call it. And we created the Hive out of a simple truth that these founders should not have to feel lonely building their businesses and building their brands because it's their child. Most founders fail because their ideas at the time, maybe they have just the ideas, but then they do not have the way they want to implement it, or they have the way they hope to implement it, but their idea is not solid and their idea is weak. So they go around and they try different things. try to put this idea into use in different ways. And that results in fragmentation. So there's branding in one corner, then they have
Mm,
marketing in another corner, then they have strategy in another corner. And then they are still bent on execution, trying to get everything into one place.
great.
And that fragmentation steals momentum sometimes, that the founders do not understand their reason why they started anymore because they are busy trying to handle all of these things to fit it into one place and make it make sense. So we built the Hive as a creative growth ecosystem because ecosystems have this continuity with it. We create this clarity that helps business owners and founders that supports them and build structure for them and not stress them.
That's amazing. And all it kind of leads into my next question because you mentioned something about it takes a community to raise a child. So,
Yeah.
are you suggesting that the hive, by virtue of being part of the community that is raising this brainchild, this soul child, are you suggesting that the hive has to walk in partnership with the brand into adulthood, as it were? So,
Yeah.
is what would building a sustainable long-term growth strategy for a brand look like? Or does that mean for as long as this business is in this infancy stage where it's got all of these various departments and all of these various um, I guess what I'm trying to say is, do you create a playbook that the brand owner can go off and implement, or are you part of the family? Are you part of the community that raises this child?
Yeah. So when we see that our tagline is never alone. So never alone can mean many things. It can mean for business owners, it can mean for creatives. And for business owners, it means that from infancy to the adulthood, let's use
Yeah,
this word
yeah,
here,
yeah. We're staying with the analogy. Yeah,
are with you from the process where you have the idea to the execution and when you are in the top 14,500. We are with you through that process. But then we also deal with businesses that just want us at one phase. And then, yeah.
okay,
So
perfect.
that covers, sorry, I'm continuing. So that covers clarity, it covers structure, it covers the business story, and then we also handle consistency with them as well.
Amazing. So when you start working, as you've been working with brands, when you start working with a brand, what is the common illusion that founders have about building a brand? And what's the necessary truth that you must break to them, albeit gently? What are some of the things that they think they just have to do? They probably read it in a paper or they've seen other brands doing it and they're thinking, if I want to go for funding or if I want to scale or if I want to, then these are the things that I must do. And what are some of those common illusions that you find that you have to break the mold in order to get them to possibly grow quicker or at least stabilize?
Okay, most brands like to, especially for brands that have products or services, they just want to sell. They want to get revenue. So for most businesses that we work with, most times the question is how does branding relate to money? Because they need money
Mm,
and to sustain the business. But then one thing that we try to let them understand is that branding and marketing are connected. We like to call them evil twins. So you do one and then you have to do the other. If you skip the branding phase, you do not have a core that you can market. Now, let me explain this. The branding is not is not every time based on what you can see. So it's not
right.
what you look like. Rather, the branding phase covers the promise, positioning, the voice, the emotional value, and the lived experiences that we want these users, the audience, to feel and to experience with that brand. Then, once we have those, we take them and implement them in the marketing phase. And that creates a cohesive brand so that if a business is trying to upscale or trying to get funding, you have a story to tell. Because, like my co founder likes to say, you can sell anything with a good story.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So you're saying that if they're concentrating too much on sales, your job is to kind of bring them back to earth and to make them look at the brand, focus on the brand, and think, what are you trying to sell? It's not so much the sale, but how do you make yourself an attractive a position for a buyer to
Yeah.
buy into, to hook into, to believe in, to the point that they actually want to buy from you. And then once you get the branding sorted, or that trust value sorted, then you're more likely to make the sales that you want, because that's why you're in business. You're in business because you said you wanted to make sales, right? So yeah, okay. That's really helpful, because I think that once a founder starts thinking about business, the clock starts ticking, right? If I've got people working for me, then I need to pay them. If I've got this product, I need to sell a certain amount in order to be considered a viable investment. For example, if I'm looking for funding, I need to have certain things in place. So I can imagine why a founder's core principle is on sales and sales and selling and making more money and revenue, and that's what they're concerned about. um, I think it can be difficult for them to scale that back and focus more on branding per se, which leads me to my next question. How do you deal with resistant founders or business people? So someone has come to you and said, I need help. I'm struggling with this. I've got fragmentation. I've got all of these different parts. I'm out here like an octopus. I've got fingers in every pie and I'm not doing any of it well. I need your help. And then you say, okay, I've taken a look at your business. I think this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. And I'm going to hold you by the hand. Hello, I'm the community. I've met your child and I'd like to help you raise your child.
Yeah.
But the founder says, this is my baby. You don't know my child. You're not, I think this is the best way forward. I want you, the Hive, to concentrate on the problems I have brought, not the problems you have invented. Because the things you're talking about, I don't see them as problems. I want you to help me make more sales. That's what I came to you for. Make it happen.
All right. I'm going to share a personal experience. So currently, we had a meeting with one client, and then they have generated sales a lot, and they're a top company at this point. But then they wanted to get into a different market, but they do not understand how to position themselves because they had skipped the branding phase. So they just had a logo and then they went straight into business. So now in this market, they have sales because they have connections with people. But then in the market they are trying to get to, they do not have these connections and people don't know them. So they need to sell a story so that they can connect with people in that market. But then the founder believes that it does not rely on branding. Rather, we need to upscale our marketing to make it better for that audience. But then we like to approach our branding and every business that we deal with phases. So we let them understand what each phase is. And then during our consultation calls, we sit down with the client and explain this phased method. So if we do this, this is the results that you get. So for most clients like that need you to skip some processes, you show them that you don't just tell, you show what this process would mean, and you show the results. And then you also introduce quick wins because you still have to work with your clients. So we introduce quick wins that still make the clients feel We're doing what he needs to
Progress.
do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, yeah, but then we're taking a step that even when or if we are no longer with him, he's still able to maintain the momentum and even grow more than that.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So I really like that answer of telling them what they stand to gain if they do it your way. If they do it the ways that you're suggesting, these are the wins. This is what's in it for you. So it's not just a case of forcing a new idea or a new concept on them, is to show them what's in it for them, as it were. So I
Yeah.
think that's really fantastic. For someone, we've probably got founders watching us right now, people who are starting their business. It's gone out of dream stage. It is now an ongoing concern. Maybe they've sold a couple products or a couple services. They've started doing the business. What are three survival tools that you would give them right now? I'm starting business. I'm already starting to see the cracks. I'm already starting to see that I can't do everything myself. I can't be all things to all people. I'm watching this in the hopes that Austin of the Hive can tell me one or two things that I can run away with and implement today that will help me raise this child a little bit better, take some of the burden off me a little bit, so that I can at least grow to a stage where I can bring in more community members and I can start really considering the Hive as a partner that will be with me throughout the lifeline of my baby, my brainchild.
All right. So I would not recommend tools because I do not know the particular business that they are in.
I
Rather,
I'll
this is what
replace that with strategies. Maybe that's what I actually meant.
that's
Not actual apps or tools or anything. Yeah.
that's better. So first off, we'll start with clarity. It's impossible to move a business if you don't understand where you are and where
Mhm.
you are going. So without identity, without purpose, without positioning, marketing and branding becomes guesswork. And we do not want to build our businesses off of guesswork. So first off, you understand your clarity. You get clarity on your business, where you are, where you're going. The second one is to build a story architecture. Now that covers your emotional engine. It covers your why. Everything that you're going to do in your business and everything you're going to do in your brand circles back to your why, your reason why. And then it turns the strangers on the internet from just seeing your brand to seeing your brand, believing it, and turning that belief into advocacy. That's the second thing. And the third thing is every business wants to sell. So put together a growth system. So these are not just random ideas,
Mm.
but then a structured rhythm for your marketing, for your communication that compounds over time. So you'll be looking at how do I want to get to market? Once I've gotten to market, what do I want to do next? Okay, how do I position myself? How do I communicate these offers to my audience? So with this, any founder, any business at all, no matter how early or how far gone into the business you are, you can be able to navigate your space.
So we have clarity, your why, and your growth system.
Yeah.
So the three things you need to put in place. Fantastic. Thank you. So as a business, I've implemented these three things and I'm thinking about working with the Hive. For a founder listening right now and wondering whether the Hive is the right partner for them, what is the unique value you bring that they simply won't find in a traditional agency?
Earlier when I talked about fragmentation, how that is one of the biggest problems for business owners. And at the Hive, we have found a way to solve this. So I said that branding and marketing are able to they work together. And in the Hive, we handle branding as a service and marketing as a service. And so that when we are done with the branding phase, we implement the marketing phase. Because branding is only as good as how you are able to tell it.
Right.
And then marketing only works if you brand properly. And we
Fantastic.
handle all of that in one space. So you don't have to be worrying about a designer somewhere or a marketer somewhere. Everything is in one space.
Amazing. A cohesive offer that gives the business everything they need to get started and stay and grow in business. I love it.
Okay.
I would imagine that there are different strategies for different. So, the strategy you might offer for someone who does products might be different from a strategy for someone who does services and things like that. Do you adapt your strategy or your working, the ideas or the recommendations based on the person behind the business? How important is the individual behind the business? Or do you feel it's more, if the person is selling shoes, it doesn't matter what kind of person it is, shoes is shoes is shoes. And here's a great playbook for selling shoes.
No. So we adapt our strategy based off on every business. Now, every business, like I said, has a story. I could be selling shoes, but exclusively to students.
Right,
And then next business person sells shoes commercially. So the strategy I create for the shoe seller that sells to students is different from the commercial guy. Because for the students, I want to build a strategy around exclusivity and having someone that caters to students and having students believe and just want to get buy from this one person rather than this guy who sells commercially or the guy next door who sells shoes to say pregnant women for an instance. So you see all these people have different audiences and different audiences have different ways that you communicate to them. So for the students, I would say, okay, let's do more social media.
mm,
For the commercial guys, let's do, you know what, let's do more television advertisements and billboards so that they get to see us in flashy places next to stores and all of that. For the pregnant women, I say, let's go to the hospitals. Let's visit them where they are.
right.
These are different strategies developed according to the type of business, even though they are doing the same type of business, but according to
You're
the
all
type of
selling shoes.
audience brand. Yeah.
Mm. So that's actually an amazing answer. Thank you for that. So we curate our offer based on who our audience is. Then I suppose a branch of question to that is, do you ever curate the offer based on the brand owner? Are there certain brand owners that you look at and you say, this guy isn't going to go for this suggestion I have. I want to do something. I want to do something else. Ah, thank you. I can see the questions are now coming in.
All right. Okay.
I
So
can,
should I
but
go
yeah,
ahead and answer this or
let's
do you want me
let's
to?
finish one and then we'll go to the question.
Okay. So most times we, not most times, every single time we work based off on what the market wants, and then we have meetings with the brand owner to discuss. So we have suggestions that comes from the brand owner, and then sometimes we adjust so that we meet at the middle, what
Fabulous,
the market wants and what the brand owner wants.
fabulous, fabulous. And we do have a question in the room. What's one piece of future builder advice you wish someone had told you at 21?
Mm, I would say that would be. I actually got it, I think this year, but then start now. So the second best time, the first best time to plant a tree is like 21 years ago. The second best time is now. So yeah,
Yeah,
start now.
that's fantastic actually, because my the people who know me on social media, my hashtag is hashtag just get started. Just get started. So that's a great piece of advice. I'm going to. I've seen where I can get the questions. So if there's any more questions, happy to take them. Otherwise, Mr. Osho, you are on the hot seat because we are now going to do some rapid fire questions. I hope you're ready. If you feel any heat at the bottom of your seat, it's because I'm going to be firing you very rapidly. Number one, build fast or build right. And you can't say build fast right. It can only be one.
So build build right.
Hmm.
Yes.
Interesting. 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 What is one thing every founder should stop doing immediately?
Stop thinking your logo is your brand. It's not.
Interesting. I really like that. I really like that. I really like that. So this wasn't one of the rapid fire questions, but if I were to ask you what makes up a brand, what are some of the threads that you would say come together to form this unbreakable rope called the brand?
Okay, so I'd say there are internal assets and external assets. So external assets are the ones that everybody can see. So your colors, your logo, your font, the way you your designs on social media,
Mhm.
and every other thing that the users can see, the audience can see. And
Right.
then the internal ones like your voice, your personality, your brand archetypes, your story, which is the core of what you do, your why, and every other thing, your values and missions and visions, those are the internal ones. So those make up the brand.
Fantastic. What's the most overrated advice in entrepreneurship?
I really have to get into my bag for that one. Um,
I'll let you
I,
think on
I would like to say, yeah. Let me
I'm
get
going
back
to
to
let
that.
you think on it because I've got a question in the chat, but keep it because I'm going to come back to it.
Yeah.
I think I have one, so I may help you. I'll slip you a cheat mode back of
Okay.
house. But
All right.
Idarsit says if you were to rank it, so she's going back to the previous question. If you were to rank it, what would you say is the most important part of the brand in ranking? Obviously they're all important, but in ranking,
Mm. I'm going to rank them based on how I divided them. So I would say your internal brand assets are the most important because once you have that right, anybody can put together your external brand assets for you.
fantastic answer. Fantastic answer. Thank you. Keep my question at the back of your mind. What is the most overrated advice in
Yeah.
entrepreneurship? Um, Next one, brand first or product first?
Hmm. That's a very tricky question. Brand first. A good brand can sell any product.
I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. Absolutely. One metric that actually matters.
If you are a business person, that would be engagement.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
But then if you are a lover, you love your business, you love it, it would be awareness. So how many people are able to see and experience your brand?
That's a fantastic answer. Where would you put trust on that meter? So if people trust your brand, you, the business person, would that allow you to go ahead and then do other businesses? So because people trust it, the brand, you're able to say, okay, today I sell skipping ropes, or tomorrow I sell. Is that possible, or do you think there is such a thing as over dilution of brand or over diversification of brand?
Okay, I'm going to start with saying that I really do not believe that every business should do everything.
Okay.
But then trust is at the top of the pyramid for every brand. So even if you sell cement, especially if you sell cement, because I won't buy what I don't trust to build my house. What if you collapse on me? So you see that every single thing, even if you sell skipping ropes, I want to trust that it's not going to cut.
Hmm.
Get so trust is at the top for every single brand and business.
A throwaway question: AI, threat, tool, or partner?
Partner.
Love it.
So in our team, we encourage our teammates to use AI. You should use it. Don't think of it as a competition, or instead, you should explore ways and use AI to make your life easier.
Exactly, exactly. And I absolutely agree with that. I had to work with some young people recently, and someone said, this video looks like the script. So it was the actual person, excuse me, reading out the video. And but one of my friends said, or colleagues or panel of judges that I was on said, this video looks like the script was created by AI. And I said, number one, that's one of the reasons I like it the most. This young person who is 21 wanted to create a script. He went into AI, he plugged in what was the key things he wanted to make sure he passed across, and he created a script that works effectively with what we are trying to do.
Yeah.
That is a positive, not a negative. I'm not mad at him for using a tool at the end of the day at his disposal to create a much more polished version of something that would have, maybe not suggesting that he can't think of the scripts by himself, but it would have taken him a lot longer to do it. You've plugged in your key questions. By the end of the script, I wanted to have said, communicated this, this, and this, creates a script that does this for me. And AI did that for him. So, yeah, I think it should absolutely be encouraged to be used correctly to enhance your work, your performance, and your output. Personal now. What's one morning ritual you never skip?
Ooh, one morning ritual I never skip
May I
is
just segue?
to just sit back and enjoy silence for a minute, for say 30 minutes before getting into the chaos of the day.
That's fantastic. One word you think your team would use to describe you.
This one is very, uh, I would say it depends on who the person is, but commander, yes.
Commander. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, that's interesting. We might have to delve into that a bit more. What is a belief you hold that you think most people would disagree with? Unpopular opinion, I think we call it nowadays.
That love is not for anyone that has sense. I'm going to explain. Um,
You
I
have to
feel like,
explain.
yeah, I feel like people that are too intelligent like to have certain ideas of what they think love should be, but instead, love is just a very simple thing that should be expressed and not given too many thoughts and ideas to it.
You
So love
saved
should
it.
be
You
and not.
saved you saved it. It was almost gonna go left, but you saved it. What is one lesson that you learned from failure?
It's not always the flashy ones that work. So it's not always the ones that you like the most that will work. Sometimes you have to reiterate and then change the idea.
Mm, valid, valid, valid. That's actually really good. Am I able to come back to my question now?
Yes.
Oh, you think you've got it? Okay. What's the most overrated advice in entrepreneurship?
It would be quit your 9 to 5.
Oh,
That's yeah.
ooh, ooh,
So
ooh.
genuinely
That's an
believe
excellent one.
I genuinely believe that they are entrepreneurs and they are intrapreneurs. So they are people that are meant to work in the business with you to make it work. So if everyone is an entrepreneur, then we're not going to have solid teammates like we do that help to build out this idea that we have.
Agreed, agreed. That's actually okay. Yeah. That was actually very similar to the cheat sheet I was gonna sneak to you in the back, which is um everyone can do it. Everyone
Yeah,
can do entrepreneurship. Like, oh, if you have a business idea, just go for it. Yeah, everyone can be. Yeah. Um, no, not everyone can. Um, question for you. On the flip side, what's the mindset trap you see most Gen Z entrepreneurs fall into?
okay, remember when we talked about just getting started?
Yeah,
Take this scenario for example. You're trying to get somewhere, or let's say you're using the metro station, for example. So you know that they have to wait for people to onboard, and then at every station, so you have people that are off, getting
getting
off,
up.
and people that are getting on.
Yes,
But then you have somewhere to be at a set time, and you need to be there immediately. But then you have these stops and pauses on the road. But then for the metro station, they are just doing their work. They need to get these guys, and then
off.
for you,
Yes.
you want to get somewhere. So the mindset trap would be trying to get started and forgetting that there are so many factors that contribute to get actually getting started. So
So you're
most
saying to
Gen
get started, but follow the process.
exactly. So most Gen Z forget that there's a process.
Yeah, fantastic answer. I hope that answered your question, Godwin. Thank you so much for that question. That was really great. Let me see if I've got any other questions for you. I really liked your answer on morning ritual, the minutes of silence, just to inhale, exhale before the day starts. I love that. I was going to ask you the most misunderstood part of brand strategy, but I think you covered that quite comprehensively with logo and things like that.
Yeah.
Back into looking into you as a person or the human side of Austin Osho. Let's talk about legacy in the future. What's something you want to be known for?
Now, what we build with the Hive is actually extensive, more than a marketing, a growth agency.
Yeah,
That is just one side to it. The Hive is all encompassing. That's why it's an ecosystem. So in the future, we want people to look at the Hive as a place that they can be part of a community, a tribe, as creatives, as business owners, and as people that just are curious, genuinely curious. And one legacy that I would like to hold on to in the future is curator, being a curator of all of these experiences. So, yes.
that's amazing. The commandant becomes the curator. I like it. Excuse me. Um, what is the best decision you would say you've made in the last 12 months?
This is going to go against everything I've said about Gen Z's, but it has to be quitting my full time job.
Look at that. Look at that. Just look at that. But that's not necessarily going against it. It's I think self-awareness is very important. It's knowing that you can be an entrepreneur and knowing when you should be an intrapreneur. Um, I think a lot of people quit their jobs too early or think they have a bright idea and they want to go off and set up. So no one has said you didn't say they shouldn't quit their jobs. Absolutely you can if
Yeah,
you are investing into something full time, but I would imagine that there was a time that the Hive was running alongside your full-time job and for a very long period of time. So I don't think it's necessarily a contradiction. It's more a make sure you're reading the signals right, make sure you have self-awareness, and make sure you have you understand what you're doing and how before you go ahead and quit the job. I've got a younger sister who's very much an intrapreneur. She likes 30 days at September. She comes to work, she gets her paycheck, and she goes home. And I used to have a problem with that because I thought, oh my God, you're a certified accountant, not just ICANN, but ACCA. You could have private practice, you could have your own clients, you don't need to. And she used to like, oh yes, sis, that makes sense. She never did it, ever did. She never branched out of her job. She focused on her job and she's doing really, really well. She's been promoted several times. And it took me a long time to realize that that's who she is. And self awareness is important. If you suddenly started going out and doing business because everybody says you should have a side hustle or everybody says, you're never truly wealthy if you're working within an organization, she would have done herself a disservice. She probably would not have done very well at it. And she probably would have resented me. So I think leaving your, can you hear me? I'm not sure if you can.
I can hear you.
Oh, there. Okay. Yeah, the camera went a bit funny. Yeah, I don't think it goes against what you were saying. I think self-awareness and knowing when to leave or if to leave at all is really, really important. My
Yeah,
final,
that's true.
sorry, you were saying?
Oh, I said that's true.
Yeah. My final question before we round out this session, Austin, is finish this sentence. The future belongs to those who,
The future belongs to those who take it. Yeah. So
love it.
it's not enough to want it. You have to go out there and try to get it as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so very much. This has been such an enlightening session. I've really, really appreciated your considered answers. It shows you have more than an in depth, but a very broad view of what you do as well. I hope the listeners at home, at work, on their commutes today learned something, heard something that sparks them to, as Austin said, get started, but make sure you wait for the train at the right station, get your processes
Yeah.
in place. And if for any reason, and just before we call it a day, do you have social media tags? Where can they find the Hive? How can they get in touch with you? If they need some babysitting for their child, how can they reach you?
All right. So for business owners that need a tribe to raise your child together, you can find the Hive on Instagram. You can find the Hive on LinkedIn. So we have a LinkedIn account, Discover the Hive. You can check our website, discoverthehive.com. You can search us on Instagram, and then you can search us on Facebook as well and TikTok. Yeah, we're a Gen Z brand like that, so we're on TikTok.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you so very much. And I hope the rest of your day is wonderful. Go forth and command more brands to get online and get growing. Thank you all so very much.
All
Goodbye.
right, thank you, Joe.